Welcome to Founder Stories with Galen Data. My name is Chris DuPont, CEO and co-founder of Galen Data, the leading cloud platform for connected medical devices. Every company founder has a story to tell, and this series is about sharing those stories. Joining me today is Dr. Catherine Fort, CEO and co-founder of Zibrio. Thanks for taking some time today to share the insights about your medical device company.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, as we talked about, there's just 4 simple questions we'd like to talk about. And the very first one is, every company has a story, Catherine. Let's start with your elevator pitch.
Our story, gosh, well, I think our story might be a little bit different because our story starts from space. So I'm a former scientist at NASA, and we invented this technology for Zibrio originally at NASA for astronauts on the moon and Mars. Quickly realized it can help people here on Earth and thought, let's do that. So we have a scale. You stand on it, it measures your weight, it measures your balance, and it can predict if you're going to fall down in the next 12 months. So very powerful.
And that's the Johnson Space Center in Houston, right?
That's correct, yes.
That's cool. Our offices aren't even a mile from the front gates of Johnson, so that's very cool. And I certainly can relate to the space program. When you start a company, you always have that aha moment. What was that aha moment that made you or wanted you to start your company?
Yeah, my co-founder is Erez Lieberman Aiden. He was down for the summer from Harvard and MIT. I was in the neuroscience laboratory, and we're always trying to understand how does the body control itself for posture and balance. When you go into microgravity and altered gravity environments like the moon and Mars, your body has to adapt. And so we always want to explain how well is the body doing that, and can we train them better, train them in space before their flight, after their flight. And so we've invented many different metrics. And when Erez came down, he's an applied mathematician. So he was utilizing some really nice machine learning tools. And as we were putting it all together, we were able to see that we had such a high resolution of explaining the body's control system. So now if people think about balance, what do you think about? You think of, the old test on the line, walking the line, stand on one leg, maybe, things like that. And really, what are those tests? They are functional tests that you challenge the body to expose a weakness. So close your eyes, stand on one leg, all those things. But when you have that kind of a test, you need spotters, you need harnesses,
Right,
you need to do things to keep that person safe. And that maybe isn't appropriate with somebody who's frail. So when we invented this algorithm and it was so sensitive, we could see differences in people even when they were just standing with their eyes open. So the aha moment is that both Erez and myself we had grandmothers who had fallen down, and they were healthy, vibrant, they had broken a hip, and ultimately and awfully it had led to their demise. And so you get somebody who is very physically capable, and then it's just this one moment, this fall, this accident, and that's what gets them in the end. So when you've invented something that's so powerful, and we were literally just sitting there at lunch at NASA, like, this is so powerful, this can really help a lot of people, we should really do that. Yes, we should. And then we literally got up from that table deciding that we are going to do something about it. And I know you hear about these kinds of stories a lot, but it really was that kind of moment. It was that combination of emotional connection to the problem, the witnessing of the struggle with it. Then when you invent something that not only can you measure people really well and with high level of sensitivity and accuracy, but this is now something that could be put into people's homes. They can test themselves because it's so safe. So our aha moment was at lunch. I don't remember what we had for lunch, but we did have a good dose of emotion and technology and innovation, and that is the start of everything.
That's an awesome story. In your background, you have a PhD in motor control, correct?
I do, yes. So human sensory integration for human movement. So how do we put all this information together to move well?
so you're an expert in this field. That's super cool, and that might have helped with that aha moment. But that's awesome. What a great story.
Thank
There's
you.
always challenges with any company. Can you maybe share some of the highs and lows of starting your company? Anything?
Oh God, well, that could go on for hours. But it's a roller coaster, always a roller coaster. And how naive we were in that moment of our aha, but that's okay. That naivety actually protects you and gives
Yeah.
you the energy to move forwards. But yeah, I mean, some of these highs when you create something and then finally to get through manufacturing, and there is that product, there is that machine, and we've got them now across the country, also in Canada. There's people, we've had, over 20,000 people who have had access to this machine. And so we talk about our mission as being, we're on a mission to save the world from falling down. And so the biggest high is actually getting this technology out to people and seeing the impact on their lives. So that's great. Lows, of course. I mean, the pandemic made manufacturing challenging. We were just submitting for electronic certification. I think it was the 9th of March, 2020. So that 18-week process turned into 18 months,
Yeah.
which was brutal. But I do think, and this is something that it can be hard when you're in the moment, but every problem, it's a double-edged sword. It's also an opportunity. And for us, we ended up just building technology because we were waiting. We were waiting, waiting, waiting. Is it happening now? No. Another month, another month. I mean, it was like the in the airport when they give you a 20-minute delay and then another 20 minutes and another. It was like that. It was awful. But what did we do to try and reduce our own stress? We built software. And so when we came out of all of that and we finally had our device, the bigger package altogether was just so much more comprehensive and bigger than we had even planned. So double-edged sword.
And it's one thing to have an idea. It's another thing to get that idea to a bench, but to commercialize that idea is incredibly challenging, and so much respect for you and your team. It's not easy to do. I mean, ideas are fun. Commercializing is hard. Total respect. Total
Hardware
respect
is
there.
hard.
Yes, it
People
is.
said it, and I was like,
Ah,
"Oh, fine. We built
it's
our own, 3 generations of
uh,
it." Oh, there's a
yeah.
funny little low moment. It was one of our scales that we had built ourselves, and I was just about to pitch, and I was going to pitch standing on it. It was a
Uh-oh.
60-second pitch. We have a 60-second test, and we had one good prototype, and we were just tightening up the back, tighten, tighten. It's got plastic on the back, tighten, 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 and then crack.
Oh no. Oh no.
We had the loudest crack. I mean, it went down in company history, this crack. And we tried duct tape, classic NASA solution. We tried so many different things, but ultimately we decided not to pitch on the scale. We just held it up.
No more number one rule of demos is don't do live demos in front of investors. That's hard. I know,
Yeah,
but we all do it. No,
we
that's a
do.
great story. Um, any advice for other founders? What have you been through? What could you tell me or other people on what not to do or what to do?
Yeah, I mean that's so context dependent, isn't it? And what type of a founder are you? I think I can probably speak best to the scientific founder. Erez and I, we were two scientists delving into this business world, and I think in hindsight, it would have been helpful maybe just to jump on maybe a 5-week financial accounting course. That would have been useful, but I feel like I've earned my MBA
Yeah.
by trial. So but maybe there's a quicker way. I think some educational pieces would have been good, but there's a lot of resources out there now. When we were first starting, the ecosystem for startups wasn't anywhere near what it is
Yeah.
now. And I think one of the things I did, which I am very pleased about, and that's for about the first 2 years, I said yes to everything. So it was a little bit like the Yes Man film. If someone said, "Can I meet with you?" I said yes, because I didn't quite know where any of these conversations would go. And I heard just recently somebody, I think it was S3 Ventures actually, was just talking about how you have to refine your story. And the only way to really refine the story, that the pitch, the communication of everything, is to get out there and hear what people say back to you. And so I didn't realize that that's what I was doing, but my approach to that was just to say yes to talking to anyone, and trying to just hear and pick out the pieces that I was hearing from that. But yeah, I heard this advice as being two main phases. There's that you've got to refine the story, get out there, just keep talking, and then it's now you can be more surgical. And so we are in that surgical phase, which is, I think if we hadn't have done that early phase, we wouldn't be where we are today. So I think that's one key piece of advice.
That's incredible advice. Just do it, and you don't know how to refine until you do it. And so now that you have all this experience, you have the ability to make those surgical incisions or refine it. So that's great advice, for sure. Thank you for that. What's the best way to learn more about Zibrio, and how should somebody contact you?
Oh, well, go to Zibrio.com, so Zibrio.com, and we have all sorts of information there. And this may be that you're interested just in the company. You may be interested for a loved one. You can, in fact, buy a scale for their own home.
Oh, nice.
We have the ability, obviously, to measure, but we find that when people use our scale, we've had a 74% reduction in falls.
Nice.
So there's, if you care about the older people in your life, this is definitely a good Christmas present, holiday present, birthday present that you could provide for them.
They can buy directly off your website.
They absolutely
awesome.
can. Yeah,
okay.
we wanted to make it available to anybody who wants it. Now, it is pricey because it is a medical device, of course, but also we have these scales in health systems and PT and home health and senior living. So the best way to contact us is through our website. We have an email up there and a phone number that you can contact us through. So yeah, just delve around and extract some of the value that we're putting out there. We want to help people.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. And any medical device, you have all the testing and design and risk analysis, so it's well worth it. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for bringing this medical device to market. I know I've seen the videos. It can help a lot of people, and thank you again.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.